Hi everyone, Daniel Linder here, creator of the relationship model of addiction, and I'm going to continue talking to you about the second stage of recovery, which is developing a relationship with yourself, and various aspects of what that means and what that looks like in your life. And so right now, the piece of that is about discernment. Developing a relationship with yourself is based on self-awareness and what you're being aware of what your experience is at any given point in time. And discernment is heightened. It's an attribute of awareness and is heightened awareness in terms of what's going on inside of you, and self-awareness as well as relational awareness. Discernment is about how you process your experience. It's not just being aware of it, but it's how you process and how you react to internal and external stimuli. So the internal stimuli is what's going on inside of you, your own awareness of what your experience is, and external stimuli would have to do with how you respond to other people, relational awareness. So one of the really important abilities that you have when you're really discerning, and you have you have a pretty good ability to discern, is making note to yourself and being aware of when you are coming from a place of being self-centered versus other-centered. We talked about this a lot in the past, but how part of what you're discerning moment to moment, especially when you're relating, this is about when you're relating to someone else or in a relationship. Are you coming from yourself? Are you considering what's going on inside of you, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you wanted? Or are you shut down, asleep, and on automatic and responding to what the other person is feeling or wanting, or what you think they're wanting, to either make them happy or be seen in a positive light, but considering them before considering yourself? Are you doing that? So, for example, how discernment or the lack of discernment could affect you. And again, I'm going to talk to you about a situation that I just experienced this week with a client. And just it's apparent, it will be apparent to you that what I do and the work that I do with people, among other things, one is to help people develop their relationship with themselves, and particularly their ability to discern. So I had one client this week came in, and he said that something was bothering him and he didn't know what it was. Something was bothering him. He had this disease, this anxiety, something wasn't right in him. He wasn't himself. He was bothered, and he didn't know what it was. So we kind of got into that, fleshed that out. And as it turns out, what was happening for him was that he was planning a trip with his wife. And usually in the past, he was always very, very excited about going on trips. But in this case, he was kind of bogged down. Like I said, he was bothered. So it turns out that he was not discerning, that he was kind of dropped himself and what he likes to do and how he likes to travel and what he wants to do when he travels. And just drop that and revolve the whole trip and plan the whole trip around whatever his wife said that she wanted to do, and kind of lost himself in the process. So he realized that what he needs to do on this trip to kind of get himself back was to do what he loves to do whenever he goes on a trip, which is to kind of do research, find out where he wants to go, what restaurants he wants to eat in, just kind of navigate the whole trip. So that in itself is an exciting thing and something that really fills him with joy and anticipation of the trip. And then to express that, to first get in touch with what he wants to do. He really likes to go on the trips and plan it, and then he would deliver all his efforts to navigate the trip would be presented. He would then be able to express himself, represent himself, and kind of take charge and direct the trip. And that made a huge difference for him. Then he all of a sudden felt better because now he had something to look forward to, that he was going to do what he loves to do the research, plan the trip, and then kind of be the captain, lead the trip. And he saw that when he was other-centered and lost himself, he had this dis-ease, this anxiety, this bad feeling. So a lot of what people go through, a lot of times when you're upset in your life, it has to do with not being, the upset has to do with not really being or tuned in to really what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're wanting, so you can then act in a way to make yourself happy and to make that happen, whatever it is, to express that. Okay, so moving along now, that was an example of self-awareness. In terms of relational awareness, the kinds of things that you're discerning, your discernment ability, is kind of how you're responding to another person and what's going on with them, what you're picking up from the other person. That could be how connected you feel to them. That could be what you're picking up in terms of what you're getting their experience to be. And it could also be how safe you feel with that other person. So when you're discerning about your experience, when you're discerning of what's going on, and when you're relating to someone or when you're with another person, you're going to be aware of what you're picking up from them, in terms of what experience, what's going on with them. And sometimes that could be whether you're not getting a whole lot of what their feelings are. Maybe they're in their head, or maybe you if they're not in their head, you're able to see you're able to kind of register what their emotional experience is, which ultimately is going to be that understanding when you respond to the person that's going to connect you to them more. Then if they're in their head, you're going to feel less connected. So you're looking at whether the person's in their head, what you're getting from the other person, and how connected you feel to the other person based on that. You're also looking at yourself in relation to the other person in terms of how you're responding, whether you're more open to them or less open, whether you're feeling unsafe or safe, because this is really, really key in discerning when you're with another person, whether your warning signals are set off in terms of there's something about it that feels threatening or disconnecting or upsetting or just unsafe. Sometimes you're going to need, when this happens, you're going to need to pull back, to take care of yourself, create more distance, pull it in a little bit, set up a buffer zone or a cocoon or enough distance so you remain safe and you can conserve your energy and just take care of yourself and protect yourself. And if you're feeling safe and connected to the person, then you might want to open up and share more about what's going on in you. So your discernment ability gives you the power to take care of yourself, whether you want to move closer or whether you want to move further away. And so it's really about how you're able to take care of yourself. So these are examples of discernment, how discernment would show up and help you and empower you in your life. Discernment within your self experience, as well as how you're responding and how to other people you're relating with. So hopefully from this information, if you get it, what this means, the implication is for you to take the show on the road and begin to practice and check in with yourself and more often ultimately become more discerning. You could do that. You can come in and see me and I could work with you on that, and I could work with you to solidify and strengthen that relationship with yourself and ultimately hone that ability to be more discerning of what your experience is. Or you could practice on your own. You could do this any which way. So we're talking, again, just at any time, check in with yourself, and anytime you're relating to someone, check in with yourself and what's going on with you and the other person. So we're going to wind this down right now. So again, I appreciate being able to talk to you every week. And so until I see you again, the quality of your relationships is the quality of your life.